Hello my friends, Jeff, Tax Rescue CPA. Today we're going to talk about what to do when you have a lot of unfiled tax returns. I'm talking about 10 plus years of returns. This situation can be kind of overwhelming and you're sitting there looking at all this going, what do I really need to do? Do I really need to go back and file all of these old tax returns? And the answer is probably not. Let's dive in and get you some answers. So how far back do you need to go? Well, here's the secret. The IRS has got a policy where they will consider you compliant if you have filed the most recent 6 years. 6 years. That's going to be your general answer to how far back do I need to file old tax returns. Now, keep in mind, this is not a law, and there are some circumstances where you may be required to file older returns or the IRS will be interested in older years. This usually has to deal with fraud, or if the IRS suspects there's a large amount of taxes that would be due, they can go back further than that 6 years. But for the most part, they've deemed it unnecessary or unenforceable to go back any further than 6 years. Now, one thing to keep in mind is that if you're owed a refund in any of these older years, that can only be claimed up to 3 years back. In fact, I've got a separate video that talks about that. You can check it out there, but you have 3 years from the original due date to claim a refund. So if you have a refund in that number 4, 5, 6 years back, you're not going to be able to grab it. Let's talk about why. Why would you want to file these old tax returns? I got 3 reasons for you. And the first one's kind of straightforward. You want to avoid looking like a criminal. Not filing your tax returns is in that category of tax evasion. It may be. It depends on your situation. Take, for example, Al Capone. Okay, so that's the first one, is by filing these returns, you're going to quickly take yourself out of that category that's going to get the Criminal Investigation Division of the IRS looking into your case. The second one is to stop IRS collections. Now, filing returns won't stop IRS collections directly, but it will open up opportunities for you to get into a resolution plan with the IRS. We're talking installment agreement, offering compromise, or even being placed in currently not collectible. You can check out my channel here for details on those programs also. But the point here is that the IRS won't consider any kind of action or application on your part to be put into any kind of resolution program if you haven't filed the last 6 years of returns. Okay, the third reason is real straightforward: peace of mind. If you're watching this video and you've gotten this far, this is probably a burden on you. And filing these returns, you won't believe how much better you'll feel by getting this off your chest or getting this burden off your shoulders or whatever body part it is weighing on. Okay, so what are the steps to getting these returns filed? I'm going to break it down into 4 steps. The first one is to gather your information. You may have all this information saved, stored away in some box in the attic or something. Grab that. Get those old tax documents and let's dive into what you really have to work with. Now, if you don't have those old documents, the best way to grab them is to go straight to the IRS and pull your transcripts. This can be done online, and guess what? Yes, that's right. I've got a video right here about how to do that. It's quick and easy, and you'll have all the information you need. So the second step is you want to figure out if you need a tax professional. Is this going to be a process, or are these returns going to be something you can file on your own? If not, stop now, find a tax pro. Okay, enough of the commercial. Even if it's not me, find somebody that can help you through this process. Why? Why do you say that, Jeff? Not to be self-serving. No, I say that because if you're going to go through this process of getting caught up and getting your taxes filed, the last thing you want to do is file them incorrectly, get them wrong, have more taxes owed on those years than need be. Get them done right. Okay, so the third step, now this one may seem pretty straightforward. The step is to file your returns. You say, okay, great, that's simple, Jeff. Yeah, it sort of is, but what I've seen happen 100 times is you get started on this process and it gets a little overwhelming. It gets a little slow. You get a little distracted. Something goes on in your life and you don't actually get all of them filed. It's a process. Stick with it. That's where the benefit is. The benefit comes from getting them all filed. If it takes so long that now you've got another return to file, you're never going to feel like you get caught up. So once you decide to do it, jump in with both feet and get it done. The fourth step is to deal with any taxes, interest, and penalties that arise out of the filing of these 6 returns. As I already mentioned, if you filed 6 years worth of returns, the IRS will open up opportunities for tax resolution, or how to resolve this or get into a plan to work through this. So you'll have the returns filed, you'll know how much you owe, and there'll be options for you. Okay? Again, installment agreement, offer in compromise, currently not collectible, or how 99% of tax issues get solved with the IRS. Okay, a couple of pro tips. Here's another reason why you want to do this yourself is pro tip number 1 is that the IRS has a program or a process where they will file old returns for you. This is not good. This is called a substitute for return, where the IRS prepares this. They call it an SFR, and they will prepare your return for you. Now, that sounds great, right? They do it for me. I don't have to do anything. No. They will prepare the return in the most disadvantaged way to you. We're talking no deductions, no credits, no dependents, nothing. Even the filing status will be the worst possible choice that could be made. This will end up with the highest possible tax, interest, and penalties, okay? Not good. The process then to undo this is more involved than simply filing the return yourself to begin with. So that's pro tip number 1, is to do this before the IRS files for you. Pro tip number 2 is, this one's a little trickier, okay? This is a case-by-case basis, but even though I'm saying 6 years, 6 years, 6 years, 3 years might be enough. I only have to file 3 years? That sounds like half the work, Jeff. Sign me up. Well, yes, maybe. If you're in a situation where you're a W-2 wage earner, for example, and you've got a fair amount of withholding coming off of your wages and being reported on your W-2 each year, the IRS may look at your tax information for that year and they go, based on this much income and this much withholding, there's really nothing here for us. We've already received enough money. We're not going after this taxpayer. And as I've already said, on those older years, you aren't entitled to any overage or any refund anyway. So why file it? There's really not much point to it. Now, there may be something else going on in your life where you need all these returns filed. I don't know. But as far as being compliant or being in a position where the IRS is going to be unhappy, if you've already got enough money in and have paid in enough through withholding, you're probably going to be okay just filing the last 3 years and getting refunds for those years. Now, I'm not saying don't file at all. Get the refunds. I hate money being left with the IRS. Get those last 3 returns, the most recent 3 returns filed, and get your money back. Okay, so what have we learned? What we talked about today is what to do when you're faced with this situation of years and years and years of unfiled tax returns. We learned that you probably only need to file 6 years worth of returns at the most, and there may be even some really small situations or unique situations where you only need to file the last 3 to get your refunds. But we learned, get to it, because the downside of not doing it is just too great. Get it done. If you look into this and you do need any help or you have any questions, get in touch with me, put a comment in the box below, or another idea is, here is your free certificate for a free tax review. This will go through your transcripts, check out your situation, and let you know exactly what needs to be done. Thanks for watching. Now go file your taxes. Who's doing your taxes?